I don't know why anybody thinks the health care bill had to be repealed and replaced all in 30 seconds. 70 days, that's about 30 seconds. You know, it's unbelievable. Anyway, how y'all all? Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Why pass a bad bill? You're one of them typical Republicans. First of all, I'm not a Republican, so that makes me not a typical Republican. I left that chump team a long time ago. What bothers me is that you don't have to, they're being moved by the press and what people are going to think of them instead of doing what's right. I hate to tell you, I told you folks this before, if I'm in the damn foxhole, give me a Democrat. I don't want a Republican in a foxhole with me. Running bunch of cowards. I don't want them in a foxhole with me. Give me a good Democrat. Give me a good Democrat that believes in what they believe, and they'll fight you to the death. Republicans, they're running hard so quick, they may even join the other team, shoot bullets at you. John McCain, Lindsey Graham. I mean, I'm just telling you, why the panic? You see, I got to tell you, there's part of me that believes that Trump's right on something. I don't know if I'm right on saying what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't know if Trump's not right. They ought to let Obamacare implode. See, all the Democrats are going to say, well, we got to put more money in it. They don't want to fix Obamacare. Obamacare cannot be fixed. You ever had a flat tire? All right. I'm letting you read this. You better check with Louisiana Network. You better check really quick with them. Huh? That's on them, too. I know, but you need to check real quick. All right. Hey, apparently, Louisiana Network didn't switch their button this morning, and so some people are getting Jim Inkster right now instead of me. And that shouldn't be happening. So we're going to try to make the switch over because I'm a hold on. Everything I said went to one audience. So anyway, we have no idea what this is on Louisiana Network on this one. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be the voice of Louisiana. By the way, I have a great story today. Female athletes are being crushed by women who once were men. Female athletes crushed by women who once were men. This is happening. By the way, NCAA is allowing men to be women to play sports. This is so screwed up. We are screwing up our society to no end with this LBG stuff, LBGT or whatever you call it. You know, they're going to let all these women, they're going to let all these men play in these women's sports. By the way, this is an unbelievable story. I'm all for it now. Let them beat the hell out of these women. Let them beat the heck out of them. That's the kind of society we want with no morals, no values, no anything. What'd they say?
Now we should be good.
All right. Are you good now?
Yeah.
All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. By the way, I got to put that on Louisiana Network.
Not even an apology, though.
I know, but they need to switch the thing over, and they didn't get a chance to do it. So I'm I can't call and beg every time. All right. 844-766-6607. Let me say it again and start all over again. Hey, welcome back to the program. All right. Trump. Okay, can you press and make sure that everything's good for us, you know? Okay. Trump is not the loser. I don't care what anybody writes about it, what anybody says. Donald Trump didn't lose. He's dealing with a swamp. He's dealing with the Republicans and Democrats. He's dealing with people that want him to fail. Okay? Obama needed to fail and didn't. Trump needs to be successful and can't because of the politics. Although I don't like the idea that says you're going to reach out to the Democrats, because reaching out to the Democrats is a joke. But what do you do? Okay, Brandon, we're good now with everybody. All right. Apparently there was not a switchover. So what do you do? First of all, Trump didn't lose. Republicans lost. I told you, I've been telling y'all for, a week now? They don't have to vote on this. They don't just pull it off and get a bill, go back, meet where Republicans can get together and do what's right to pass a really good bill. Trump didn't lose. I've been telling y'all for a long time, if I'm in a foxhole and I got to have somebody fighting for me and what we believe in, give me a Democrat. Give me a Democrat, not a weak-willing, weak-minded, yellow-belly, sap-sucking Republican. And that's, by the way, wait till you get to Baton Rouge, the taxes they're going to pass. You talk about some yellow-belly sap-suckers. Actually, it's yellow spine, but it is what it is. Okay, by the way, everybody's calling in. The affiliates didn't have us. There was a switch over at Louisiana Network. I'm not throwing them under the bus, Brandon. There was a switch of a deal. They didn't switch it. They had another program. So if you just catch me, none of the affiliates did anything. We didn't either. It was just a quick switch. At Louisiana Network, they made the switch. So nobody panic on me here. We're all good. It's all switched. Everything's good. Louisiana Network made the switch, and so we thank them for making the switch. Anyway, so I made a comment many times that I would rather be in, if you had a fight, and you had to fight for what you believed in, I would much rather fight with a Democrat than a Republican. The Republican might not even get in the foxhole with you. A Republican will not have your back. Republican may be on the other side before you know it, shooting bullets at you. And this whole health care thing didn't have to be done today. They didn't have to make a lead up to this big old deal on Friday. I ran into people all weekend. Some of them were depressed. For what? What do you expect? I mean, we got to have a miracle for the Trump to get some stuff through. I didn't agree with the bill. I didn't agree with the bill that Trump was pushing. But it's not a big deal. It's really not. It shows how much work needs to be done to get all these Republicans on the same page. They're blaming the Freedom Caucus. Why? The bill was not a good bill. You don't pass stuff just to say you passed something. That's what gets us in trouble a lot of times. Well, it was the best bill we could get. No, it wasn't. Donald Trump did not get beat. Republicans might have got beat. But Donald Trump didn't get beat. You know, and let me say it again. I think there's merit to what Trump is saying. Obamacare is a disaster. I really believe there's some merit in the fact that if you leave it alone, it's going to bury everybody. Then we'll get mad. Give you an example. I was telling Brandon, I was telling some of the people here. One of the problems, the reason why you have not seen this thing in an unbelievable way devastating people like it has me, is because businesses are still fighting to keep their employees insured. They really are. But a lot of them are getting ready to go broke trying to do it. And I said this the other day, and I really believe this is what has to happen. And I think it will happen by next year. Businesses, and some of this is already taking place, but businesses are going to have to walk away from having health care. When that happens, the majority of people will be affected. They're going to have to walk away because Obamacare was a lie, just like Obama, the biggest liar that ever stood in the presidential place. He's a liar, and people still believe him. Obamacare was a lie. And so what has to happen is these businesses are going to all of a sudden, even big businesses are going to go, we can't afford this anymore. And Brandon, I don't know what your insurance is, and I don't care in the fact of money. I'm glad it's paid, and I don't want this to really happen, what I'm saying. But what needs to probably happen is businesses go to employees and say, look, here's $400 or $500, and good luck buying your insurance. Can you imagine a company the size of 100, 200, 500, thousands of employees going to their employees and saying, look, we're not in the healthcare business anymore, but we're going to give you $500 a month for your health care. You're going to go in the market like I had to. That's not competitive. And you people that have been paying $300 and $400 or maybe $500 a month in health care, now you're thrown in the Moon Griffon company. Now it's going to cost you $1,600 and $1,800 a month. And you people out there in the business community are going to go, huh? Well, they want you to hate the company. Don't hate the company. Hate the people that voted for Obamacare. They're the ones that did it, and it's 100% Democrats. 100% Democrats. That's why Trump keeps saying, hey, I can let it implode. Now, the twist with the people because of the press and the twist with the left, well, you see, Republicans let it go down instead of what? Sticking more money in it. Sticking more money in it doesn't work. Watch our state government, how it operates. We put more money and more money and more money, and it's a disaster. Now they want even more money. That's going to be another disaster, and that's not how you fix stuff. Obamacare and what was a, quote, a failure on Friday has nothing to do with Donald Trump and everything to do with Republicans who can't get their act together, they don't even know how to cover their own rear ends because they part of the swamp. Them and the Democrats own the swamp. I tell you what you do. Let them go try to clean up a real swamp and see how hard it is. Next to impossible. Trump didn't fail. Oh, Schumer and Pelosi are pounding their chests. For what? They caused the problem. By the way, we got Judge Janine and her comments on this when we get back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. All right. Judge Janine, it's about 6 minutes long, but I want to play it because she really gets on it, and she takes Paul Ryan to task as well. Here we go.
Paul Ryan needs to step down as Speaker of the House. The reason? He failed to deliver the votes on his health care bill, the one trumpeted to repeal and replace Obamacare, the one that he had 7 years to work on, the one he hid under lock and key in the basement of Congress, the one that had to be pulled to prevent the embarrassment of not having enough votes to pass. But this bill didn't just fail. It failed when Republicans had the House, the Senate, the White House. And the timing? It failed within the first 70 days of President Donald Trump's administration, a president who made replacement of Obamacare the hallmark of his campaign, and then used valuable political capital to accomplish it. You know, Americans elected the one man they believed could do it, a complete outsider, someone beholding to no one but them. And Speaker Ryan, you come in with all your swagger and experience, and you sell him a bill of goods, which ends up a complete and total failure. And you allow our president, in his first 100 days, to come out of the box like that? Based on what? Your legislative expertise, your knowledge of the arcane ins and outs of the bill-writing process, your relationships, what, your drinks at the Hay Adams with your pals? Folks, I want to be clear. This is not on President Trump. No one expected a businessman to completely understand the nuances, the complicated ins and outs of Washington and its legislative process. How would he know which individuals upon whom he would be able to rely? Many of them friends and establishment colleagues of Speaker Ryan. You, on the other hand, Speaker Ryan, know very well who are the 15 hardliners, the 10 moderates, and all the other ones. You, of course, know their demands. And if you didn't, why didn't you? Some of them actually shut down the government over Obamacare, and you couldn't figure out what you needed to do to get their support? You knew no Democrat was going to support it, and that you would have to rely on Republicans. How could you possibly misjudge this? And where was the whip Scalise in all of this? How tough a lift was this? And why start with this if you're not sure you've got the votes? Now, I certainly have not spoken with the president about any of this. But I can only imagine that he and his aides took on health care because they believed you had his back. And you didn't. You didn't even test the waters. You had no consensus. And I hate it when Schumer and Pelosi get to beat their drums and talk about what a great day it is for America that President Trump failed, when even they know that Obamacare is a total disaster. The president, on the other hand, is handling this with dignity. And he doesn't seem to want to criticize you, saying this.
I want to thank Paul Ryan. He worked very, very hard. I will tell you that.
Mr. President, all reports are that you wanted to handle the tax cuts first, but that Ryan convinced you to go with health care. If that's the case, not only has he hurt you with his health care debacle, but the ripples that will hurt you as you try to overhaul the tax code will come back at you. The Freedom Caucus, feeling emboldened by their win with this health care failure, will now dig their heels in on the tax cuts. Ryan has hurt you going forward, and he's got to go. The shame of this is that in addition to putting your faith in someone who did not have your back, you made the decision, as opposed to letting Obamacare explode, as it inevitably will, you decided to take it on anyway.
Waited 2 years, it's going to explode like you've never seen an explosion. Nobody's going to be able to afford it. It's a disaster. And that's politically what we should do, but we don't want to do that. We want to get something done and get it done right.
I never put my faith in you, Ryan. I questioned you all through the campaign. When you distanced yourself from candidate Trump whenever you felt the prevailing winds blowing against Trump. To me, your loyalty was always in question. Yet what was never in question to me was your intelligence, your savvy, and your comprehension of the system. So why? Why would you let this happen? What was your agenda? The reason, Ryan, you and all your Washington colleagues are held in such low esteem with the American people is because you've forgotten about us. In spite of the fact that you rhinos were all working against him, though, the president joined with you. And he relied on you, trusting you.
We'll be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. All right. How y'all? Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Conservatives blame for Obamacare repeal failure. Well, of course, you always blame Christians first, everything, and then conservatives second. That's what you always do. You never blame liberals or Marxists, progressives. Moderates is my favorite name. They're moderate. They're really good people. Your comments, and folks, it's just my feeling that nothing's lost here, really, when you think about it. It's like people act like President Trump's dead meat now. I don't believe that. They're blaming the Freedom Caucus, because they are very conservative people that want something to change. If we keep doing the same thing, if you're going over a cliff, okay, here's your choices. You got three of them. Go over the cliff 80 miles an hour, go over the cliff 70 miles an hour, or stop the car, don't go over the cliff at all. Which one of those three are you going to take? It seems most people like to take the one, well, we're going over the cliff, let's just do it at 70. It won't hurt as much as doing if you go over the cliff at 80. The Freedom Caucus comes across, and conservatives come across, and they're saying, look, let's stop before we go off the cliff. That's a nut. Well, look at that guy nutting up. He thinks we ought to not go off the cliff. No, I don't think we should. Well, we can't do that. How about if we do 50 miles over the cliff? Guys, I got news for you. Going over a cliff, I got a feeling the results would be the same no matter how fast you're going. But no, that's not what we do. I don't think Trump didn't fail. Trump did not fail. The failure started when the Democrats passed this piece of you-know-what. That's when the problem started. And you don't have no press corps anymore. Nobody's doing anything about it. I just don't think Trump's done anything wrong. Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, if you heard Judge Janine, I wasn't for keeping him around. I wasn't for keeping McConnell around either. I just don't think these people all of a sudden fell in love with Donald Trump. They're going to blame everything on Trump because the Democrats want the presidency back. So they can put their judges in place and the Supreme Court judges and control everything through the courts. And I do agree with her. 7-8 years to change this. Brian, how many times did they send Obamacare repeal? I read one thing, 60 times they sent it to him.
Well, yeah, they sent it to him because they knew it wouldn't pass.
But
See,
now that they can send one good bill, nobody agrees with it. No, Brandon, they sent it to him so they could go back and tell people,
Yes, of
I'm
course.
trying to get rid of it. I'm a conservative. I'm fighting Obamacare at every step of the way. Really? Now look at what they're doing. It's that dang politics in that swamp. I mean, it's hard to clean it out. By the way, she popped Steve Scalise in the mouth too. Whipping out the votes. Once again, Brandon's the only person who can vouch for me. I said it for the last week. They need to just drop this, get rid of it. Let's go back and meet behind closed doors with all the Republicans. Say, look, guys, we got to get in the same team. This repeal can't be Obama light. It can't be Obama light. It had to be the real deal. It's not the real deal. I know Trump was behind it, too. Trump was trying to get something to move on. I understand all that. Trump wasn't there when all this crap started. 7 years to get it right. This is not about Trump. This is about the Republicans. This is about Republicans not doing what they need to do. Anyway, it's, I just don't get caught in what the press is blaming Trump. The stock market's down because they don't know if Trump's going to be able to get the thing through. So you're going to depend on Republicans and Democrats to do it, right? Because they do such a wonderful job before Trump got there. Somebody just wrote, will you admit now that Trump is incompetent? Trump's not incompetent. I'll tell you what, John, the guy that wrote it, would you admit now that the Democrats and Republicans have lost their frickin' minds? Why don't you admit that? That's a frickin' dump swamp is what it is. And the guy always said, will you join the rest by letting him off the hook? Off the hook for what, John? I'm not going to say John's to the left, but my God. I couldn't see him unless I looked way to the left. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Johnny in Alexandria. How you doing, Johnny?
Good morning, Moon. Look, I got a little different take on this.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear.
I think Trump is big. Think about this.
Okay. Hold. You got to back up because you're just starting a little bit. Start all over.
Okay. I think Trump is brilliant the way he did this. If he moves forward with the bill, lets Ryan take off with it, and it falls on Ryan. If it goes forward and passes, he's brilliant. Trump is not a stupid man. He did not leave Ryan in there knowing what's going on. This is his way. He now can get rid of Ryan. In the next 2 months, Ryan will be gone. The others will demand a new Speaker of the House. Trump's going to make like he still supports Ryan, and it's going to happen. There's going to be a new Speaker. So he'll come back and he'll try this bill again. But Trump really wanted this thing to implode from the beginning so he could turn around and say, I told you so.
By the way, Johnny, that's what I said earlier. Similar to what you're saying. I think there's some sanity in allowing it to explode. It's going to devastate me. I can't go another year with a 70-80% increase. These people write me about Trump and incompetent and all this stuff. I wonder how many times they wrote their elected officials. I wonder how many times they said something bad about the worst president that anybody in the world could have had in Barack Obama. Nothing. Never, ever.
Absolutely. Do you think Trump left Ryan in there because he didn't know what he was doing?
Well, I don't listen to me.
What he was doing.
I don't necessarily think Trump left anybody in there. I think the people in the House and Senate decided to keep those people. And I think they came to Trump and said, look, we're keeping him in there because that's not his vote. Really, it's not his vote.
He had to have Ryan in there to get elected. Ryan did bring on enough people by staying in there to help get Trump elected. But he's not. Trump knows exactly what Ryan is. Trump's not an idiot.
Well, I think it's amazing that people are calling Trump incompetent on this. He's 70 days in office, and he's coming behind the worst president that ever lived.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right on, Trump. You're right on.
All right, brother. Appreciate the call. By the way, here's what John says. Moon, will you now admit that Trump is incompetent, or will you join the rest by letting him off the hook? What did he do? What did he do? He had the answers, he said. He was putting the finishing touches on a wonderful health care bill, then just let Paul Ryan let him embarrassment. Are you one of the Trump voters that said would stick with him even if he shot someone on Fifth Avenue? I never made that comment. Do you have your own voice? That's why I started listening, because you were independent thinker. Don't accept his lies concerned about America, John. Really, John? Really? Really? Wow. The people that are bashing Trump, they enjoy that we're $20 trillion in debt. They enjoy that our healthcare system is going down. They enjoy that we got an economy that's getting ready to go down. They enjoy that we letting people across the borders freely. We enjoy watching these people that are against Trump that like Obama, they enjoy watching 14-year-old baby girls get raped by illegals. They must enjoy that. They enjoy the fact that we have we believe in man-made global warming. That's what these people want you to believe. Who's the nut? Who's the nut? Let's go to Brad in Pineville. How you doing, Brad?
Hey, Moon. That guy John sounds like Neil used to call you from Monroe, Louisiana. You remember him all those years ago?
Was it Neil or Steve?
Steve, that's who it was. Your memory, of course, is better than mine.
Yeah, that guy was a lawyer. He passed away a couple years ago.
Well, I guess we can't talk ill about him.
No, we can't talk about him anymore. We can't talk about him anymore. He's no longer here to fight us.
Well, that's right. We're fair-minded people.
Exactly.
So I tell you, Trump's not to blame, but Paul Ryan is. And who shares in that blame are the people who elected him Speaker, like Ralph Abraham and like Steve Scalise. Scalise has a job in the House of Representatives.
No, he's the whip. He whips up the vote.
Couldn't do it. Has the majority.
But I got to tell you, I wouldn't for the bill, and I wouldn't for just passing a bill. I just can't believe they didn't say, look, y'all keep saying you want a bill, you want a bill, you want a bill. That's what leadership does. Leadership's not rushed.
Correct.
Leadership backs up and says, okay, let's do this right. Well, we know Paul Ryan's not a leader because he's not done it in 7 years, and he didn't do it this year. But Trump's a leader. Trump's a leader, but I don't think Trump should have got on this too. I think Trump should have backed up and said, hold up, we're going to pass it. We're going to pass it in time. We're going to get there, but we're going to get this thing right. And that's why I was against it. I just don't think it was right. I wasn't worried about winning and losing. I know they're going to blame Trump. They blame Trump for World War I, World War II. They blame Trump for man-made global warming. They're going to blame Trump for Obamacare's disaster. They're not these same ignorant people that are emailing me or texting me, telling they're going to blame Trump for everything.
At least they're not blaming President Bush any longer.
That is CNN. John Kasich ripping Trump, says Donald Trump could compromise with Dems.
The ultimate sore loser, John Kasich.
The biggest sore loser ever. Kasich says Republican needs to work to compromise with Democrats. Yeah, like they worked to compromise with Republicans when they passed the bill. Is that how Kasich means? Former candidates slam President Trump. Absolutely. The biggest losers of all. And I'm not talking about weight. We got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hicks. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show as we rock and roll. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Don't forget Walk-On's official sports bar of the Moon Griffon Show. We love walk-ons. You will, too. I promise you. Oh, man. Woo. 844-766-6607. By the way, let me see. The intelligent one, John, right back. Wow, Trump does no wrong. He's brilliant. If it works, accept the credit. If it fails, give somebody else. Blame everyone but himself. He is the president. Well, is Obama going to take credit for the failure of Obamacare, John? That is a disaster, and I can prove it. Because I'm the one it's destroying. When I say that, I almost don't want to say that. People say, here you go, I want people to feel sorry for you. And that's not true. I'm showing you the examples of what's happening to the hard-working middle class out there by the stupidity of it. Why ain't Obama apologizing? We don't have to because the press keeps thinking it's great. Medicaid's expanding, folks. We're giving free health care to everybody. Ain't that cool? That whole thing is about being free, or subsidized people. That's Obamacare. And destroy the people who have good insurance. You're working for it, but it's not fair. 844, we ought to not even be talking about Obamacare because Obamacare should have been defeated. Thank you, Mary Landrew. Thank you, Mary. You've done a hell of a job, Mary. She's a lobbyist, too, by the way. All right, let's go to phone lines. Doug on the road. Doug, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Moon?
Doing fine, sir.
Thank you. Man, as Sean Hannity would say, you are a great American and a great Louisianan. We love everything you do for us.
Well, you're awful kind. Thank you.
Thank you. My comment was, Paul Ryan, before it and around the time they voted on, he kept saying we voted for repeal and replace. We didn't vote for repeal and replace. We voted for repeal. I don't want to replace it. I voted for repeal. I agree with you. I voted for repeal. I never voted for repeal and replace. That's like saying you voted for the lottery for education and the politicians knew at the time that's not what it was going for. I never voted for replace. I'd rather them go back to the old way of doing business, and it was affordable then for middle class people. Right. And the thing is, the people with the pre-existing conditions, the 10 million people, whatever, it's like 3% of the population. Us other 90% are paying for it. And the thing is, think about it. If they get rid of it, you got to take care of the pre-existing conditions. We're going to have to face that because half the cost are those 10 million people. But if you don't have insurance, okay, and we get rid of it, what insurance companies, they'll figure out a way to get it covered. People that they won't get fined for not having it, and the market works. They'll come up with a plan. People will pull their. Well,
I got a daughter with pre-existing conditions, and we've been able to do pretty good till now. We've been doing fine. Just got to work hard, but we've been doing fine. Obamacare comes along and kicks people in the teeth, and we got people out there fighting to keep it. We got people because they're getting subsidies. It's great. But I'm telling you, you let the businesses start getting out of the insurance business, and that's where we're going with Obamacare. Yeah. And this is what they wanted, disaster, and they thought Hillary would be president, and all of a sudden we'd have this one-pay, single-pay system.
That was the entire goal. That wasn't what was.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, looking at what's happening, I'm not sure they're still not going to meet that goal. Yeah. They want this thing to blow up. There's no honesty in Obama, in Mary Landrew for sure, Nancy Pelosi, Schumer. These people don't have an honest bone in their body. They're closer to Satan than Jesus, I promise you. Watch what they do. Watch what they say. They really are. They'll lie to you in a second. Never bat an eye.
They can tell it. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. And another thing. What about the all the businesses now that they had the people they couldn't have over 30 hours because they had to have insurance? Shouldn't that be good for business now? I don't hear nothing about that.
Now, good point. I told you, I had a son who was in New Orleans, and he was working over 30, 35, 40 hours, and he ended up having to move back to Baton Rouge. He was in school there and went part-time to get a full-time job, so his school was stretched out. It's going to take him a longer time because the company said, we can't work you but 28 hours. Well, he couldn't make enough money to stay in. Actually, he was in a seminary. So he got back a job, and he goes to New Orleans a couple times a week to go back. Somebody had to cut his hours way back, affected directly by the great Obama. Got to run. Appreciate the call. What you were going to say, Brian?
You over here mentioning Mary Landrew about 3 times in the past 2 minutes.
That's all?
That's all. You're doing it to yourself, Moon.
Oh, we need a little music to break the ice. By the way, Elliot Stone ciphered. Uh-oh.
She sees Obama when she looks in the mirror. She voted for a stupid healthcare plan. The DNC took away all the money. Now her senator days are slipping far away. She's gone, oh my, oh my. She better learn how to face. She's gone, oh my, oh my. Even the devil can't replace. She's gone, oh my. What went wrong? She's so wrong.
That never gets old. The lady that gave us health care. That should never get old. By the way, she was the final vote. So like a you-know-what. Let's go to Mike on the road. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm over here in Texas taking business away from my front-end specialist riding on Texas roads, but I'm doing good.
If you're riding on Texas roads, you got smooth sailing.
You got that right, brother.
By the way, I drove to New Iberia and back this weekend. I drove to
Good luck.
No, hold up. I drove to New Iberia and back. I went out to Maurice and back. And the side roads and the state roads are absolutely getting worse and worse. I'm not for tax increases. That tells me they didn't fix the roads with the money they have. Now they're begging for more.
That's a mess going to New Iberia from Lafayette.
Oh, no, the whole thing is just the roads are so screwed up, it's not even funny. They're going to come and say, see, we need to pass that. No, they never fixed the roads. Ever fixed the roads. And I'm 55 years old. I haven't seen school reform yet, although they say we got it. And I haven't seen the roads be fixed yet, although they say we've got the money to fix them. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was just going to make the statement. These people like Scalise and Abraham, I'm not in their district, but you voters, you got a chance when they run for office again, let's start punishing them. That'll get their damn attention. Start punishing them. And I don't know how ours did up here. Mike Johnson, I don't know how mine voted, but we're watching them.
Well, hold up, though. Nobody voted because there was not a vote. There was no vote. Now, Abraham was mad at the caucus, and so was Higgins. He said he was going to vote it. They said they were supporting it. Okay, but there really was no vote to say who voted for it. I just know Higgins and Abraham said they were going to support it. So, anyway, we got to run. All right. Elliot Stone Cipher when we get back. A little state news for the next couple segments. And, of course, more of the show. Female athletes crushing women that once were men. Good. They need to be taught a lesson. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 1 hour to go. 844-766-6607. Hickson has hit hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. Let's go to Hickson has it hotline. My friend Elliot Stone Cipher joins us. Elliot, how you doing, sir?
All right, Moon. How are you?
Well, Elliot, I thought me and you and Brandon and the audience, we would have a blue ribbon panel discussion. I'm starting to laugh. You know, Bill Edwards and a lot of other governors have done it too. Bobby Jindal was great at doing it. They form a blue ribbon panel to come up with a way to fix roads. And it's amazing. Then the press uses that to be the factual information that we got to go by. They set the tone with these blue ribbon panels. Now, you've seen them many, many, many times, and I'm watching it again. They get a blue ribbon panel set by government. Then the press takes the blue ribbon panel and says, see what the blue ribbon panel says we ought to do. And yet they're only saying what these people wanted them to say. I mean, Jay Dart and John Alero sat on these blue ribbon panels.
That's right. That's how it works.
Okay.
That's the dance. And you and I both know that the thing that makes it very, very clear what they do is out of 4.6 million people in Louisiana, there are about 20 that are ever on a state government blue ribbon panel, and they've been the same 20 for the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know what it is. It is eyewash. It's the cover that the media now increasingly has to have to write the stories, broadcast the stories that they do, because people are looking harder at them. But the bottom line is, if they want to have a blue ribbon panel, they can call it a red, white, and blue one, and I'll be on it.
Mm-hmm.
See if they ever asked me to be on a blue ribbon panel to talk about population and demographics.
No, let me stop you because, and by the way, I would love for you to be on these because you could add that in the mix about all this money, which fits into your numbers. Sure. And Elliot, great point. But these blue ribbon panels won't ask you to ask the same people. Lario, Jay Darden, Parr, Cable. Parr and Cable's been around for 80-some years. I'm not down on them. I'm not saying there's some great people that hadn't come through Parr and Cable. But if they were so good, why had nothing been fixed? If Lario, after 48 years, is such a great leader, why hadn't it been fixed?
Well, and that's the whole point. It is part of the dance. It's not real. I don't think anybody anymore that it could possibly impact public policy pays any attention to it. Everybody knows it's a wink and a nod. The thing that scares me is when any of the people on this always regurgitated blue ribbon panel start taking themselves seriously.
They don't.
Good Lord.
They don't.
I've heard some of these guys, I read what they write, after they've winked and nodded to the point that they have that facial tick that I keep talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to them and I think, good Lord, he believes this stuff. Now, that's scary because the people on these panels, usually about taxation, don't believe the stuff they're saying. They don't. They know it's a wink and a nod. They know what their role is, and they know that their gig, whatever that gig is, I don't care if it's a cable gig, a PAR gig, an LSU gig, it doesn't matter. Their gig depends on them playing that role, dancing that tune the way they always dance it. That's fine as long as they don't take it seriously. The stuff that comes out of a Moon, it's so laughable in the Internet age that it stuns me because somebody who knows how to get on the Internet and do some research can disprove or at least seriously question any of these conclusions they reach. And I'll make my point this way. If they were real, would it not matter to them what's happening to the state's population?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
How do you set public policy when you refuse to acknowledge that Louisiana is in a unique hole in America? They're in there maybe with West Virginia, maybe not. But, I mean, it's a very, very deep hole. It's just that it's very narrow, too. There's not much diameter to that sucker. It's us and maybe West Virginia. How do they still never decide, what we ought to do as a blue ribbon panel? Is we ought to force the governor to hire a state demographer who, like Texas does, open every session of the legislature with a report from the demographer.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We never hear it mentioned.
Nope. I've never heard that mentioned ever.
They'll never mention it. That's why I say, if we've got a state demographer, nobody knows who that person is, and they're buried in the bowels of state government somewhere. The truth is we don't have one, and we don't have one because if you don't tie everything you're doing fiscally to the size of your population,
good point,
then you're just being foolish.
Yeah, great point.
That's what we have. We have a very foolish government.
No. I think, Elliot, you're right on the money. Elliot Stonesifer, my special guest. I just kind of get a kick. Tyler Bridges is the latest, but Jim Beam wrote, he keeps pounding Republicans because about Bill Edwards. He's the deputy press secretary. I've nicknamed him deputy press secretary for Bill Edwards now because all he does is pound anybody that gets in the way to this great reformer that we have. The blue ribbon panel is one thing. Something else they do. This 1 cent sales increase, now everybody's writing articles on how bad the sales tax increase is, and the people passed the sales tax increase last year to make us the highest. I think we're the third highest anyway. And I'm laughing. They just passed the election. This was a bad thing to do. Convincing people that we need to go in another direction, which won't be tax reform, will be tax increase. And that's what blows my mind. Another thing, Elliot, like Tyler Bridges, and I told him if he keeps writing this stuff, people can quit buying his book because they're not going to believe it's true in anything he says. Tyler says they're talking about this new tax, and I want you to talk about this, that Bill Edwards is throwing it out there.
Right.
And he said Bill Edwards wants the state legislature to lower the 10-cent sales tax. Well, they just increased it, and Bill Edwards was part of it. But one of the things they said is that they're going to tax things like cable TV, concerts, and football games, all which are taxed by Texas, not Louisiana. They make a great comparison to Texas when they want to, but they don't talk about Texas's roads. They don't talk about Texas's independent school district. They don't talk about Texas's less sales taxes. They don't talk about Texas's no income taxes, but they grab Texas when it's convenient.
Of course. And there again, that's no different than a blue ribbon panel. If you find a single freestanding statistic that supports your point, no matter what it is, and no matter that you're using it out of context, use it. Look, we have to do those games here. And that's the thing that bothers me the most of where the Louisiana population gets sold down the river. If, we saw it recently, by the way, on this debacle. We're being told it's the end of the world, of course, on the health care vote in Washington.
That's so funny. That's almost hilarious.
I know. I'm laughing, too. I'm
laughing.
Stunned by that one. But my point is, the media is in the political establishment is treating that as something that a whole lot of us know it is not. And when you get back over here to what the state does, that's what it is. They provide cover to keep things in the public awareness sphere where they want them. They don't really want to educate the people of Louisiana. They don't want to tell them the whole story so we can see something about how the public policy comes about. Mm-hmm. They simply use anything they can that furthers their argument, and here comes the key, because the news media is guaranteed to run it if it's a Democrat.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's the ball game. That's the whole thing here. And I think more and more people are onto it. I really do. I mean, I think they understand that the way it is right now, public policy in Louisiana is killing the state. Yeah. I'm going to repeat that. It is so toxic. It is so backward. It is so broken. It is so old that it is literally killing the state. How does it therefore stay in place? It stays in place because the insiders have a tax code they like.
Yep. Hey, Elliot.
That's simple.
I hope you saw the piece put out by the head of the DOTD explaining the 11 cents on the road. They put out a piece trying to justify because they're getting ripped. Of course, they put the piece out right before a big tax increase is trying to happen.
Right.
And they're trying to justify everything they've done at DODT. You know, that's not true on 11 cents on road. I just made a comment before you came on. I drove to New Iberian back, and I drove to Maurice and back. And, man, the roads are so bad, it's pathetic. Now, I'm not making a case for more taxes. I'm proving the point. They've never fixed roads in the 55 years that I've been living here. We've been the worst roads ever. We've had tax increase over tax increase over tax increase. Now DOTD's in a bind. People are looking at them and they go, oh, no, we're spending way more than 11 cents on a dollar, but that's just not true. The explanation is a joke to me. I don't know if you read it, but you need to pick it up.
Well, and I know something about how that appointment got made by Governor Edwards, and therefore I know there's no validity to anything that's going on in there. But there are a couple of things that the listeners may want to know. Can you imagine a meeting, maybe 2 or 3, in Baton Rouge, maybe New Orleans, where 10 or 12 people who have big companies that benefit mightily by highway construction are in a room, they're having a meeting with John Hilario, the governor will send somebody, you know, a couple of the other big groups in the state, whether that's Lobby or PAR or whoever it is, they might even have somebody there. And they're all there to talk about, now look, we have got to raise the gasoline tax.
Yep.
My business will greatly benefit. You all get what you want because everybody at this table is pro-tax and anti-Louisiana, by the way. But I mean, wink, wink, nod, nod, we're all here for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
Public policy flows out of that kind of meeting of special interests, that kind of meeting of insiders. The real meeting would be real people, real honest, real decent, real straight folks who know the state of the state, and they sit in that room and they say, how is it that the rank order of highway projects is never followed? Why is it that some of the oldest highways and the worst highways in Louisiana, with a list of projects in place to be funded as a priority some year when it finally comes their turn, why did they never get fixed?
Yep. And by the way, you're right on the money. I drove them this weekend. We'll take a break. Be right back. Elliot Stonecipher, my special guest. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Elliot Stonecipher, my special guest. He is a demographer, among other things. Elliot, I just got to... Every time I think of blue ribbon panels, I just laugh at them. I really do. Me and you could really, if they said, okay, if Bill Edwards calls us today, and by the way, he probably is, but I ain't going to tell you what he's probably calling us, and said, I want y'all to do a blue ribbon panel on the retirement system and what we need to do to get it straight, we could charge him for doing no work. We'll just say raise taxes, and they'll get it back and go, yes, great idea. Because that's all they're doing. They just hide behind this, but the press sticks these blue ribbon panels down our throat. I'll give you an example. The other day, Jim Beam, Deputy Press Secretary for Bill Edwards, you know what he said? He said, the brains in Baton Rouge have already told us what to do. In other words, these blue ribbon panel with these people that have been around for 20, 30 years.
Yep.
He said brains.
Oh, I know. I understand. And look, if you're where Jim Beam is, and I've known him for forever.
By the way, he's a Hall of Famer or a Hall of Shamer, depending on how you look at it.
Well, look, I mean, at least now we're to the